Hey guys, happy Friday. I hope you're all well. And welcome to Ask Mark number 13. Unlucky for some, unless you're getting your questions answered, then you're very lucky. I do apologise if there's a bit of lag.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, exactly. What is the worst that could happen? We'll find out. I do apologise if there was a little bit of lag. My internet has just decided to go. So if there's a bit of awkward silence between myself and Mark, it's not because it's awkward. It's because there's a bit of a delay in things. But hey hum, it's the world we live in right now, isn't it, Mark? We just got to roll
The joys
with
of modern life.
it.
We now communicate through broadband.
I know, it's crazy, mate. Before we carry on or start the questions, I've got to do my usual thing. Mark, how are you today? How are you? Are you okay?
I'm okay. Yeah, all is well. It's kind of snowing, which is quite rare for where we live. So it's quite fun to finally see it. It's been like a couple of years since we've actually seen snow here. My dogs are loving it. But it's you don't leave the house unless you have to, because our cars really aren't set up for it.
Yeah, my car. Whew, it's terrible. For those that don't know.
You went for the eco-friendly, lightweight option when you're choosing your cars, don't you, John?
I do. Natural, mate. It's called my legs. My legs are my car. Cool, man. Right. Let's crack on. Let's crack on with the questions. So the first question is from Javier Franzoni. He says, hey guys, could you explain the difference between a concave and convex steel tanks? I mean, obviously the shape of the bottom is different, but what are the advantages/disadvantages of each one? If I get one model for twin set, can I use it for side mount too?
As you say, the main difference is the bottom. But for a practicality, I mean, most dive cylinders, you either get convex, where you get the rounded bottom, you either get completely flat, which are traditionally aluminium tanks, and then you get concave, where it's kind of like pushed in the middle, a bit like the bottom of a champagne bottle. As far as practicality, concave is a bit better because it does effectively have a flat bottom, so the cylinders do stand up by themselves compared to a round bottom. But other than that, I don't know, they're not big in this country. You don't tend to see that many concave bottom tanks here in the UK. You might do elsewhere, so by all means let us know down in the comments below if there's any huge glaring errors. But I don't think there's any like huge practical differences. You might find that concave are just ever so slightly like taller as such, because the bottom is pushed in instead of pushed out compared to a round bottom tank. But I think the main practicality of it can stand up is quite handy. Just make sure that you're protecting that bottom, so especially if it is steel, so it's not rusting away. If I get one model for twin sets, can I use that for side mount too? Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not easy if you're trying to have a twin set and then break that up and turn it into side mount. It's not that easy to continually do that. But yeah, if you have it for a set of twin sets, then yeah, it'll do exactly the same thing for side mount. But it's more of it's not a permanent change. It's a real pain to physically drain them off and then undo all the mounting and everything, and the manifold in the center, just to use it for side mount, and then put it all back together. It's really not worth it. It's almost worth getting a separate sort of pair of tanks just for side mount. But if you do, then modular valves would be the way to go, because they just have that extra sort of handle so that you can hook it underneath a little bit easier and a bit more secure. But I'm not aware of any huge obvious advantages and disadvantages of concave versus convex. The main one is they stand up by themselves. They have that flat bottom. Cool,
nice one. My thoughts exactly to that as well. You literally took the words right out of my mouth, so thank you very much. Cool, so the next question, it's a bit of a long one. It's from Franklin. He says, "Hello Mark, I'm indeed a new diver of a certain age and I've just purchased my first steamer yesterday, the Scuba Pro Everflex 5mm. It fits really well and it's comfortable and warm. The only downside for me is that the zip up myself is a bit difficult. The back zip starts from the bottom left, and when you finish zipping it up, I don't know whether I've said that correctly. The back zip starts from the bottom left, and when you finish zipping it up, its home place is the top center, which is normal for this model. If you get what I mean. I hope you get what you mean, Mark. I really don't.
I think so.
Cool. Anyway, he says that the glide skin gets caught up in the zip. I took it back to the dive shop and tried a larger size, which was too large, but it zipped up fantastically well. I did not change the wetsuit for a bigger size. I kept the one I had in the first place. The salesperson said, in time the suit will stretch out a bit and it will get easier to zip it up. Is this true? P.S. Keep up the good work with the videos and Happy New Year, Franklin. So yeah, zip issues, Mark. Help him out.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look at the Everflex just to make sure I'm saying everything correct. I mean, zip placement is a back zip. Of course, they don't show the back. That's really handy, Scuba Pro. Anyway, so yeah, by the sounds of it, it's an offset zipper. So it starts off at one side and then it zips kind of diagonally across your back and then ends in the center. That is quite handy because it means that the zipper isn't straight down your spine. So the weight of the tank and your BCD isn't pressing that zipper into the back of your spine. But if you do really struggle to zip it up, then I mean, my main thing is kind of rugby shoulders. I can't remember where I got that from. I think that was playing rugby as a child. And yeah, when you get that kind of the suit on over your shoulders and then have to do that zipper up, it's kind of good to like roll your shoulders a bit, and that just allows the neoprene just to sort of bend and stretch around you to actually get into it. If you can get into it, then my usual sort of method is if you can kneel down on one knee, so if you kneel down on your left knee, and then if you can reach up and touch the back of your neck with your right hand, so it's diagonally across your body, as long as you can do that, it fits. If it's too much stretch and it won't physically allow your arm to get round to the back of your neck, then it's probably a bit too small. It's the really uncomfortable position of you might be in between sizes, because if you go up a size, then kind of everything goes up a size, and it just means that your suit is more likely to allow a bit of flushing, so water can come in a bit easier, and you're going to get pools of water in the wetsuit, which take a bit more energy for your body to warm up. It's one of those things I can't specifically say, yes, do this, or no, do that. It's better to see it in person, and the dive center is exactly where you want to be. Salesperson said that in time the suit will stretch out a little bit. They can do. The neoprene itself, it does kind of loosen up over time, and because it's Everflex, it's quite a stretchy neoprene anyway. Sorry, I'm just reading. Yeah. It's one of those things I'd really need to see you to specifically say, yes, that's the right size for you. But one thing that you can do at home is that stretch test, kneel down, touch the back of your neck. If you can do that, it should be fine. Otherwise, when you're getting into your wetsuit, yeah, try those kind of rugby shoulders just to allow the suit to come up, because a lot of the time when you first put it on, a lot of the material kind of gets stuck around your hips and around your waist, so you kind of need to sort of allow it to move and shimmy and get into the right position, so that when you do zip it up, it makes that zipper sort of nice and straight. That's another problem, or one of the problems of diagonal zippers, is that it's not straight up your back, it's diagonal. So it's a little different, and obviously make sure you're doing it with the correct hand. Straight zippers straight down your spine you can do with either hand, but diagonal zippers you have to do it with the right hand, so it's going in the right diagonal direction.
Cool. Interesting thoughts. If anyone else has had any issues with this web, get my words in. Anyone had any issues with this type of wetsuit, which Franklin's going through, let us know in the comments. But yeah, do that test, and if it doesn't work, Franklin, just by the sounds of things, go back to your dive centre and go, look, mate, Mark said this. It's guaranteed. It's fine. You know
They're
what I mean?
Who's Mark?
Yeah. But you don't know who Mark is. He invented scuba diving.
He knows all.
He does. But yeah. Any thoughts, any queries? So put them down in the comments. Next question is from Emmy Lee. It says, hey Mark, thanks for asking the silly question about the bobbit worms. You're totally welcome. On a more serious note,
horrible creatures.
You don't shame the bobbit worm. They're God's creatures too, Mark. They're God's creatures too. Anyway, let's crack on with the question. On a more serious note, is there a reliable site with reports, case studies, publications, etc. on diving medicine, including accidents? I work in emergency services and would like to learn more about diving medicine than you learn on basic tech courses. Thanks.
Yeah, probably the first place that I'd go would be Dan, the Divers Alert Network. They usually have lots of articles and sort of breakdowns on diving incidents, what happens, how it can be avoided, what treatments and all that kind of stuff. BZAC, the British Sabbatical Club, they do a yearly breakdown of incidents, and I think a lot of the time they do. They'll have an appendix and it has all of the details of all of the separate incidents. Again, just sort of saying what happens, what went wrong, what could have been the causes, and they kind of break it all down. But Dan, as far as sort of case studies and diving medicine, would be the first place that I go. If you just search for it, I'm sure it'll come up.
They've just done a YouTube channel, Dan. I mean, they've got a YouTube channel anyway, but they've got a new one that's specifically about rescue and breaths and what to do, like medical emergencies and stuff. So that should have popped up. Yeah, it's only about a couple of months old, so.
Yeah, they're definitely the boys and girls to check out, because they are all about diving incidents, diving medicine, and just staying fit and healthy and analysing accidents and incidents. So check them out.
And if you want to stay up to date with the latest news, the greatest show on earth called Daily Scuba News is available for you. You can get all your
the most accurate.
Oh yeah, mate. Even though the past couple of ones have been scuba diving-esque news. You spoke about face masks. I spoke about a guy swallowing a fish. Hey, whatever, swings and roundabouts, whatever the algorithm wants. Cool, man. Right, so let's get on to the next question. It's from Larry Holder. It says, that gear rack behind you, I don't have a gear rack, it's posters of mountains. Is that something you had custom made, Mark, or did you purchase it from a retail outlet?
This thing, no. This, I think, is a bicycle rack. It was basically in the garage when we bought the place, and I think he just left a whole bunch of old stuff, and I was just like, oh, that's quite handy. And yeah, I just turned it into a bit of an equipment rack. It's not made for scuba diving equipment or anything. It's literally just a bicycle rack that's just like hooked up onto the wall, and I just clipped a bunch of scuba diving stuff on it. So no, it's not custom made. It's I don't even know where you would buy it from. I don't think there are any labels on it. I think it's just some kind of.
You could have said that you made it, and then if people want to buy it, they come to you.
Yeah. There's a gap in the market.
Yeah. That could be. That could be the Mark
have
II.
No idea.
That could be the Mark II, considering we're not getting a Mark II dive torch for some time.
No, I think it is just a car rack, a roof rack for your bikes or something. It's got nothing to do with scuba diving, unfortunately.
There you go. Doesn't matter, mate. You know, you were gonna use it for your car, so it makes sense to utilize it.
That's it. Yeah. What is it? Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Bear Grylls,
that's,
mate.
that's pretty sturdy. That's kind of handy. I can turn that into something.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Indeedy. There we go. Hopefully that helps you out. If anyone else has got any mod cons or where they've altered certain things for scuba diving storage, let us know your ideas below. And if we like it and you patented it, then we'll steal it.
I actually did a series back when I was just safe diving on my channel.
Sorry, what's that? Safe diving?
Never
heard of it.
Where the community, I basically encouraged them to sort of show off how they store and dry their dive kit, and so many people were using like PVC piping, so guttering and sort of small bore stuff to build these kind of frames. But more specifically for dry suits and wetsuits, where you can cobble together this piping into almost whatever shape you want, and then at one end you just kind of attach a hairdryer or something, and that just blasts hot air all the way through, and then you just cut holes or drill holes at key points, and that just allows hot air to circulate through the inside of your suit to dry it out and sort of keep it fresh. So people love that, and sort of showing how they store their kit, how they wash their kit, the sort of clever contraptions that they built. So yeah, there's plenty out there, and a lot of people do like build their own out of PVC piping basically.
Yeah, and then I guess once you finish with it, you just chuck it in the ocean. And then you're done.
No.
No. That's pretty cool though. I like that. But yeah, safe diving sounds like sounds like one of those dodgy emails you get to give money to a Nigerian prince. Sounds a bit dodgy.
Just let me connect to your PC via TeamViewer.
Did you hear about TeamViewer? And in America?
No. What's that?
I'm not going to talk about it here. That might be a whole separate thing. But yeah, it's. In a nutshell, a hacker got into TeamViewer and used TeamViewer to basically alter drinking water in a state in America. Basically making it so they altered the not the acidity but like the chemical
purification
balance.
Plant.
Yeah, so it's almost like if people were to drink, they stopped it beforehand, but if you were to drink it, basically your insides would start melting.
Strange.
There you go.
All right.
Random fact for the day. Let's quickly move on to the next question. So this is from Pike Master 1972. He left this question on the maintain neck and wrist seals on a dry suit. Would you recommend silicone spray in doing that?
No.
Cool. Next question.
Silicone spray.
Yes.
No, silicone spray has its place, but we rarely use silicone spray just because it gets everywhere, and it's tough to get it off where you don't want it. Maintaining neck and wrist seals on a dry suit. No, I just tend to use a non-scented talc. If it has a perfume to it, that can corrode the latex, but it's quite good to sort of dust off your seals, especially if you're sort of putting them into storage. For silicone seals, if you're trying to replace silicone seals, just use silicone grease. It's far easier to work with. You don't want to be spraying silicone spray everywhere. So no, it's good for like bikes and mechanical things, silicone spray, as Sean's the expert on that, but no, don't use it for scuba gear.
With biking and stuff, do you know what I end up using? No, I want to say it's not varnish. What's the other stuff? That's the opposite. Vaseline.
Polish?
Vaseline. No, Vaseline. Varnish and Vaseline. Both begin with V. Yeah, basically the same thing. It's all right.
Petroleum jelly.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
Or there is a special grease that you can put on certain bike parts, and literally you can leave it on there for 10 years, and that it would still be all greased up. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like you buy a little jar of it and it's well expensive, but it's worth the money. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, don't use silicone spray. Use actual other stuff. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool. So the next
most scuba stuff is just silicone grease. That's all we ever use.
Just grease it up.
I mean, you
baby.
can get like. Yeah, I mean, for regulators and stuff, you can get Krytox and all that kind of stuff, the oxygen stuff. But for neck seals, nah, I wouldn't bother with silicone spray. Just a talc, but a non-scented talc is usually the best.
Cool, unless it's Christmas time, when it's got to smell like either an evergreen Christmas tree or spiced apple. If you go Christmas tree diving. Christmas tree diving?
Oh, we should do... No, we should do pumpkin spice talc.
Pumpkin spice talc for those autumn dives. Lovely.
I've been saying it for years. We need like flavored mouthpieces for our regulators. So yeah, you just put like a gin and tonic flavored mouthpiece on your regulator, and that's kind of all you can taste.
Yeah. All you can do is
one day
when they can build it in regulators. And they just put like a filter sheet. So when you breathe in, it goes through that filter sheet. And then that's when you get that taste of whatever. You just slot it in.
Yeah, that won't affect the work of breathing anyway.
No, it won't. It's perfect. Apex, get that sorted. Thanks very much. So anyway, let's go to the next question. Kalua M, I'm guessing that's how you say your name, left this question on the Peregrine Mark dive computer overview.
Peregrine.
He says, hey, great video.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, you have. Hey, great video, as always. But would you recommend this or the Sunto D5?
Two similar animals. Okay, so let's go through the differences. The first one is that the Peregrine is much cheaper as far as I'm aware. Peregrine is a large color screen, whereas the D5 is a small watch size color screen. Peregrine doesn't have wireless air integration, whereas the D5 does. So if that's your kind of end game, then sort of Sunto wins there. Other than that, they're fairly level pegging. I mean, the algorithm is going to be different. Peregrine is on a Buhlmann 16C. I don't think it's gradient factor algorithm, whereas D5 will be on the probably fused RGBM. Mm-hmm. It's very much, it depends what you want or need. They're both very similar as far as their color screen and they're rechargeable. However, Peregrine is a lot cheaper. It's got that bigger screen, so it's a bit easier to read. You can't wear it all the time, which is where the D5 sort of comes in. D5 is more of a sort of everyday watch. I think the D5 will connect to like your phone and stuff, like a lot of smart watches, so you can get like text messages on your wrist or something. For me, I dive the Peregrine just because I prefer sheer water dive computers and I prefer large screen dive computers. But there's no reason not to dive on the D5. If you want a small watch size dive computer, then go for it. Go for the D5. It's got a useful user interface, very easy to use. But yeah, the main differences are price, screen size, wireless air integration, algorithm. I guess that's about it. Then it's just the fiddly stuff in the middle. But yeah, either or. Yeah, it's what you want in a dive computer. If you want a big dive computer, then go for the sheer water. If you want a small watch size dive computer that you can wear all the time, go for the D5. But it is more expensive. So
I would say go for neither and buy the Terek. Just buy that. That's my answer to everything.
Split the difference and go for the one that's twice as expensive as both of them.
Yeah.
All right.
Go big or go home.
I mean, the good thing about the Peregrine is that it's The reason why it's cheap is because they've stripped out a lot of the kind of the additional stuff that most divers are never going to use. So if you never plan on diving trimix or like serious sort of mixed gases, then why would you need that feature that you're actually paying for? So yeah, the Peregrine does tick a lot of boxes. It's a real powerhouse of a computer. It was released at a really unfortunate time. If the pandemic hadn't have happened, this would be a huge dive computer, because it sits at a amazing price point and all the features just tick every box for a majority, a good 90-95% of scuba divers out there. But yeah, it happened to fall smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. But yeah, both of them are good dive computers, but yeah, just makes your choice, one or the other. You won't be disappointed.
And if you buy the Terric, you won't be disappointed. So the next question is from Bing. I'm not going to pronounce your surname. Bing, Serjuan. He left this comment on New Gear in February. He says, "Hi Mark, looking at the picture, I'm guessing of the Ziegel Covert. The Ziegel Covert looks like it's a horseshoe type. Is that right?"
Probably, if that's what it looks like. Ziegel Covert. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty rare nowadays. The horseshoes. Yeah, another definitive fact is that it has 2 kidney dumps, one on each side. So yeah, and that's the main downside of horseshoes, is that because it's like it's shaped like a horseshoe, obviously. If gas gets trapped in one side, in one lobe, then you almost have to like upright, put your shoulders up so the gas travels to the highest point and then go back down, so it can then go down to your kidney dump or just vent from the inflator. Whereas because they fitted these 2 kidney dumps, one on each side, wherever it is, you can sort of vent it. It's not quite traditional, because then you have to use both hands to vent, which is a little awkward, especially if you're using your hands. But yeah, it does look like a horseshoe wing. Yeah.
It is, yes. Yeah, cool. Right, well,
yeah. I mean, that's the major downside of horseshoes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to return all those BCDs now, aren't we? Cheers, Mark. So the last question, and this genuinely is the last question. There's no bonus question this week, guys. I am sorry. It's from
what?
I know. It's from channel favorite, channel chat. Don't know why I said that. Ham Shackleton. Hello, Ham.
Ham Shackleton.
He says, "Do you have any opinion on the hookah systems that have been popular in Oz? An inflatable float bearing a battery compressor, feeding a second stage."
I'm aware of what they are.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you think about them? What's your opinion on those systems then, Mark?
Well, no, we'll read the question just so that people know what they are.
Oh, I've pretty much just said it. So we'll start it from again. It goes, "Do you have an opinion on the hookah systems that seem to be popular in Oz? It's an inflatable float bearing a battery and compressor, feeding a second stage, good for about 10 meters deep. Nice, light, and portable. What are your thoughts?"
So I cringe every time I see these kind of advertised. I think the problem is that, and we actually had a discussion on this on, what was it, a deep dive or whatever it is with Greg about a year ago,
podcast that's come back.
Decostop, where we were talking about hookah systems, and yeah, they're kind of, from my perspective, they're kind of terrifying, because so in effect, they're a floating platform with a compressor and sometimes a compressed gas cylinder that then feeds a long air line down to a second stage, down to a diver. So it's effectively surface fed. So the main problem that I see with it is just so many failure points. And when it's more aimed at novice divers who don't know the physics of diving, it just kind of freaks me out. Personally, I would be quite happy using one, but I've gone through training on and I've experienced out of air situations at depth. I know what to do, I know how to compose myself, and I know how to survive. Whereas sort of people who you often see like in the adverts, it's Frank and Lily and they're just in their bathing suits, they're just diving somewhere, and that's kind of it. So it's kind of aimed almost at like snorkelers, people who just want to just sort of buy this and just go off into the ocean. But you can still get bent at 10 meters. Granted, it's going to take a long time to actually get any kind of like decompression issues. But if you hold your breath and go to the surface from 10 meters, your lung volume is going to double. So you're going to hurt yourself or worse. So yeah, and when you break it down, so on the surface you've got a float, which if that's an inflatable float, that can deflate if you haven't done it properly. You've got a battery. Batteries and salt water do not go together very well. You'll often have a compressor, a lot of moving parts to go wrong. You'll have the airline going down to you, again, more failure points, and especially if it's 10 meters long, that's really long for twisting and breaking and entanglement issues. Then it comes down to a second stage. As long as that's attached to you in some way, then it's quite unlikely that it's going to go too far. But if you haven't had training in like regulator recovery and yeah, they kind of freak me out, more for who they're aimed at and like the potential issues than the actual thing. The actual thing itself, clever. I'd be happy using one, but yeah, as I said, I've had all that training. I know what to sort of do in entanglement issues. If you get wrapped up in that hose, oh, yeah, there's just so many things about them that just freak me out. It's like when I can't remember what they're called, but they're basically like an entire scuba set in a backpack, like rucksack, and they were marketed to like boat owners, and they only have like a small like 1.5 or 3 liter, maybe even a 5 liter tank inside of them, and it's just like, oh, if you get your prop fouled on anything, throw this on, jump in the water and unfoul yourself. And it's just, oh, these people, they have no idea about holding your breath and coming up to the surface if you get freaked out, or how long that 3 liter or 5 liter tank is actually going to last at depth. Granted, they're not going to great depths, but they're still sort of under pressure. And yeah, if you're going down to sort out an entanglement, there's always a chance of yourself becoming entangled, and that gas isn't going to last very long. So all these kind of things, they're technically, yeah, they're a good product, they're clever, and I'm sure they work perfectly fine, and they all sorts of fail safes in them, but they really do need to be used by the correct people, and there does need to be some level of training. It should never be just, oh yeah, just buy this, open the box and off you go. That there does need to be, right, you actually need to sit down, read through and understand exactly what's going on inside of your body when you're 10 meters under the water, and that's what kind of freaks me out.
Interesting. So you're all for them, you love them, and you can't wait for simplyscuba.com to be selling them. No, it is pretty scary.
It's like,
it is aimed at snorkelers.
It's
definitely.
like that Yeah. Did you ever watch that, what was it, Blue Planet, when they were in the Philippines or somewhere, and they had these huge boats, and they were fishing, and they have these teams of divers, and this rickety old compressor that's just leaking. It's held together with a Kit Kat wrapper, and they just have these like capillary tubes just leading down to the divers, and there's like no filter, so it's just like exhaust fumes getting into the gas, and there's no second stage regulator or anything, so it's just forcing the gas down whether you want it or not. And these poor divers, they go down and they do the job, and they obviously don't have dive computers, so they're coming back up, they're getting bent. It always reminds me of that, and it just kind of freaks me out.
Blue Planet's fake anyway. None of it's real.
It's all CGI.
Yeah.
You love all the Foley work, don't you? All the whooshes.
I just love it's nothing to do with the underwater, but how they make bat flaps. I think like the flapping noise of bats. I think that's to do with like marigolds.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to do Foley. I would happily do Foley for the rest of my life. It's an amazing.
Well, that was the thing with the first time I saw a manta ray underwater, and it was just how quiet they were. But you go through, you see them, you see them on TV and shows, and you do hear this whooshing noise, and you go, oh, okay. Then when you're actually underwater and you see them go through a bait ball, you're like, oh, it's completely silent. I know. It's like, of course they don't make any noise when they're swimming through the water. Why would they? But it's just, your brain is kind of expecting it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Crazy, mate. Well, sharks make a noise. You always hear them because you get the da-da. Da-da. That's natural.
Yeah. Yeah, the baby sharks make a different noise.
No. We're going to end... No. That's it. On that bombshell, we're going to end the show. If you have any questions from Mark, don't forget to use the hashtag askmark in your question. You can stick it wherever you want in the question, because that's what we search for now to get your question, so we know it's specifically for this show. So yeah, put the hashtag askmark in there. Obviously this is a podcast as well, so if you want to listen to our sweet voices in your ears, you can get this as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. All you have to do is search for Simply Scuba or search the hashtag askmark, and we'll pop up there. The show doesn't get on Instagram. We're not putting the arse marks on Instagram, but our daily scuba newses are on Instagram Monday to Thursday. So if you want to stay up to date on the latest scuba diving news, head over to our Instagram page. We've reached over 5,000 subs, not subs, what they're called, followers over there, which is awesome. Followers. So if you're on Instagram and you're not subscribed to us, please do. And YouTube. Something that we want to try and strive for this year is we want to see if we can get the channel to 100,000 subscribers. That would be lovely. So if you're not subscribed and you're watching this, what are you doing? Go smash that subscribe button. Or I'll send the boys round and they'll smash your face. No, they won't. We do not condone violence on the Simply Scuba YouTube channel. I think that's about it. You got anything that you want to say, Mark?
No, that's all. Don't forget to check out our Teesprings for some Simply Scuba merchandise, and obviously the main website, simplyscuba.com, for your latest and greatest scuba diving equipment. We're sort of tweaking it and making it better and better every single day. Check it out. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers.